This is Icosalypse, a 5e Dungeons & Dragons homebrew campaign set in the realm of Masswin Dale. On behalf of all of her people, welcome. What's up, guys? This is it. This is the first episode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to we're gonna pick up. We're gonna start off in a little town called Allbrith, and the way this town is set up, it's a fairly decent size. It's a fairly decent sized town on the eastern side, like southeastern side of Masswin Dale, and it's a big trade town. There's a lot of different towns that feed into Allbrith. Their sort of main trading goods. They get a lot of pelts and stuff like that they trade with some of the more like the coastal cities, and they get like spices and fish and just like all sorts of things from the coast. And there's just a nice mix of. There's a lot of humans around about here. There's some elves. Every now and then you'll see some gnomes and some half-elves and stuff like... some halflings and stuff like that. So it's a pretty bustling town. And on this particular day, there is a lot of trading going on. The trade is the biggest part of Allbrith. So their trading district of the city is pretty much as big as the city is. So there's a lot of carts around, and there's a lot of people just like selling items, just yelling at everybody, trying to make that paper. So, Raethan, when you show up into Allbrith, you are dropped off. Essentially, you're walked in with two new friends, and they have some trading to do, and they're at the end of the day, they're kind of over answering your 1 million questions about the world outside of the southern forest. So they like you, but they're kind of happy to part ways. So, but for you, this experience is one of the craziest experiences that you've literally ever had in your life. There are way more just like different looking people than you've ever seen, and it's really difficult for you to keep your cool right now. So
I'm not even trying.
Yeah. So we're gonna start out with you in the town of Allbrith. So where you are, you walk in through the main city gates, and it's essentially just a big circled like plot that is just like circled with carts and like pop-up vendors and stuff like that. And as you walk in, somebody runs up to you, and they're like, "Oh, sir, how would you like a loaf of bread? It was baked fresh this morning."
I'll take and go, "Thanks," and I'll just start eating it.
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa, sir,
what?
It's going to be a silver for that. Silver, you can't just have the bread."
Are we trading?
Yes.
I've never done a trading like this. So one of the silver ones.
It's 1 silver, yes.
I'll take it in my bag, and I only have one of those. Can I give you one of the gold ones I have instead?
Of course.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's good bread.
Thank you. And so he just he takes the gold piece, and he's just like, fucking idiot. He's just like walks off, and he's happy as a clam right now. He just, unbeknownst to you, made more money in that transaction than he has made all day. So he's really excited right now. So he definitely leaves you alone.
All right.
But
how is the bread?
Let's see. This bread, not so great. But you don't really know. I mean, like,
yeah.
to you, it's like it's got a real hard. You've had bread like this before. It was like one of the first times you had bread here recently. It's very hard on the outside and really chewy on the inside. And
bark bread.
Yeah, that's what you're calling it. So that's not what everyone else does call it, but that's what you're calling it.
Right.
So you were told that if you wanted to see the world and get to know people, that there was a guild that you could go to, and they would help you out. And you were told to look for the left hand with 2 rings. And they told you that it's on a sign, and it's pretty easy to find because it's not like they like new recruits. They're pretty much trying to make some money. So I want you to roll a perception check to see how long it takes you to find this sign.
A big old 9.
Well, with a 9, you're just sort of like wandering around the city and just sort of like enthralled by all the different races and like new things that you're seeing. And
square trees people live in is amazing.
Yeah, it's really blowing your mind, and you're just kind of like soaking it all in. But as you're doing it, you don't really realize that you're kind of right in the middle of the street.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and you almost get taken out by a cart. And Marth, you're just like kind of like in the front of this cart, just like, just like bopping around, just bebopping around on top of this cart, and which is very new to you. And you watch as you almost like hit a half elf, and roll a perception for me.
That would be a 14.
14. He's a very he's a very pretty half-elf, and a little taller than normal half-elves that you've ever seen, but you kind of don't pay any attention to him after you almost slay him with a cart, which you have no control over. Yeah. You just witness almost hitting a person, but you're on your way to the Idle Hand, and just up the street you see the sign. And you opened up your eyes, and you saw the sign. I'm sorry. Anyway, so... after the buggy stops and your friend tells you good luck and that he really appreciates everything that you did for him over the past week of travel, and the ways that you met were he says that if you wouldn't have been there, he probably wouldn't be here either, so he's very appreciative.
Yeah, it's completely true. That's exactly what would have happened. He would have been dead.
Yeah, 100%. So, this is a very busy street, so you, like, hop out of the cart and are immediately just, like, in, like, a crowd of people. And you're just, like, brushing along just like strangers, and finally manage to push your way through the door. And as soon as you walk in, roll me a perception check.
18. So this sort of like meeting hall is like it's a really pretty place. Like there's a lot of just like ornate woodwork carved into like, you know, just like posts and everything. There's like paintings and stuff of like just like a bunch of old humans and dwarves and like really cool armor, and every one of them have like a pendant on their breast that is just like a golden left hand with some rings on it. And you see, with that perception, you see a person that like looks a little bit different than almost everyone else that you've seen so far, and you've seen a lot of different new people. And Jonah, would you describe what your character looks like, please, as you like turn around at the opening of the guild hall door, and you see this tall cat person. You see a tabaxi. And this is actually the first tabaxi you've ever seen, so you are very interested.
Well, this is going to be double interesting because I'm a Yanti.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a cat and a snake right now.
Yeah.
Meeting for the first time. But he looks pretty much like a human for the most part, except for he has who's got white hair for how way too like doesn't look like it matches how old he is. And just you kind of notice if you look close, the reptilian like slits for a little bit. It's kind of scales around the eyebrow area.
Okay.
So he's a little bit snaky, but
Right.
mostly a person.
Yeah.
And he's wearing all purple for the most part, but it's like a vet. I mean, he looks kind of almost like a traveling performer type guy.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely strapped with an instrument somewhere on him.
Okay. So, seeing a person like that, you see him, and then there's a bunch of humans running around. Not literally running around, but, they're there. And they're all just sort of, like, sitting around, drinking, talking about just, like, quests that they've just come back from. And this strange-looking individual approaches you. And I'm going to give the floor to you, Jonah, as you walk up to this tobacco.
Well, hello there. I've never seen a cat person before.
What's up, man? Never seen any of these things a lot before. There's a lot of pink squishy things in here, and you're way different than any of the ones that I've seen.
Well, I wouldn't describe myself as pink, but certainly a little squishy. But
What is that? Sorry.
Why are you squishy?
I mean, I wouldn't consider. I feel like I
okay.
have skin around my bones. I don't really feel.
Yeah.
I don't feel rock hard.
I just never seen so many furless things before.
Yeah, there's a pretty drastic lack of fur in this town. I would agree.
Yeah, no, for sure. Seen that myself. My name is Shimmer Beyond the Marsh. What is your name?
Jamaero Jahi. Nice to meet you.
Oh, wow. What was that?
Jamaero Jahi.
Yep.
Uh huh. You can call me Jay.
Okay, excellent. Because, nope.
Most people call me Jay.
Okay, you can call me Marsh. That's
Okay,
what most people
Marsh.
call me. Yeah.
So, in the middle of you guys having this conversation and meeting for the first time, Raethan, you have finally found the sign, and you're like, that's it. All right, cool. And you just kind of like weasel your way in between a whole crowd of people, and you sort of like bust into the room, and you see a big, tall cat person. And you see a person that looks like a human, but they have very unsettling eyes. And they are in the middle of a conversation talking about... one of them's talking about a marsh, and the other one said something that does not make any sense to you whatsoever. And they're like almost right in front of the door.
Hey, Catman, what marsh are you from?
I'm not from a marsh. My name is Shimmer Beyond the Marsh.
That's a long name.
Not as long as this dude's name.
What's your name? Why are your eyes like that?
I am part snake, I guess, is probably why.
That's really cool. There's a bunch of snakes where I come from.
I'm sure there is.
They're delicious. No offense.
Oh, yeah. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to eat you.
I probably don't taste like a normal snake. It's probably not a good idea.
All right, I'll take that.
Probably tastes much more gamey than a normal snake.
So your name is longer?
Yeah. My name is Jamaero Jahi.
Jamaero Jahi.
Uh-huh.
All right.
You can call me Jay.
So your name is Jay?
Well, my full name is Jamaero, but
okay,
most people call me Jay.
All right. Shimmer and Jay.
No, Marsh.
Marsh and Jay.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah.
Raethan.
Raethan.
Raisin?
Raethan.
Wow.
Raisin.
Raethan.
So are you guys just going to stand in front of the door all day?
I mean, I was going to do something else later.
You turn around and there's this very annoyed-looking dwarf, and he's like sitting. You guys didn't notice, but there's like almost like a sign-in table. Like there's just like he says that, and you turn around, and he's just like really annoyed, and there's like a sort of like not a sign-in sheet, but it's like a list of names, and there's like a list of like pretty much like a to-do list, and like there's been a lot of like check marks off, and like it's just like looks like a big ream of paper. It looks like these people have gotten a lot of things done, and there are copious amounts of things that need to get done, and he is very